Oh my goodness, poor Charles, strap in, because this week is delivering on every single level. Britt collapsed and nobody knows why, but the answer might be something nobody saw coming. Carly and Lucas are charging into Windmere to save Jocelyn, and it looks like they might need saving themselves. And Anna, sweet, fierce, brilliant Anna, she is done sitting in that facility in France, and she is coming home. This is the kind of week that reminds you exactly why we never stop watching this show. Subscribe, hit that like button, and let's get into it. Britt collapsed, and the real reason might change everything. Let's start with Britt, because what just happened to her sent shockwaves through every viewer who was watching. She collapsed, right in front of Rocco. And the look on his face, the sheer terror of watching someone he's been running alongside, depending on, trusting with his life. That image alone told you how serious this moment was. But here's where the story gets genuinely fascinating, because the question of why Britt collapsed opens up multiple possible answers. And not all of them are what you might expect. The obvious fear, the one Britt herself has been living with for years, is Huntington's disease. This has been the shadow hanging over her for a long time. Back when she and Jason were on the run in Canada, she tested positive for genetic markers associated with the disease. And she has carried that fear ever since, quietly, privately, letting it inform every decision she's made about her future and her health. Her father deteriorated before her eyes, and Huntington's was her greatest fear of all, that she was watching her own future play out in front of her. But here is something crucial that keeps getting overlooked in all of this. Testing positive for genetic markers is not the same as developing the disease. Those are two very different things. A marker means there's a possibility, a risk factor. It does not mean the outcome is inevitable. Britt never actually received a confirmed diagnosis of Huntington's itself. She has been operating under a cloud of fear based on a test result that pointed toward risk, not certainty. And now there's something even more damning to consider. The empty syringe that was found in her room, the one that raised so many questions about what had been administered to her, came back as saline when it was tested. Saline. Nothing in it. Which means that whatever was being injected wasn't medicine. It was theater. It was designed to make Britt believe something was happening to her body that wasn't. Cullum and Sidwell have been gaslighting her, manipulating her symptoms, feeding her fear of Huntington's while possibly manufacturing the very tremors and episodes that seemed to confirm it. The shaky hand that terrified her? It may be nothing more than essential tremor, a benign condition that has nothing to do with Huntington's at all. If that's true, if Britt has been deceived into believing she was dying when she wasn't, the emotional weight of that revelation is going to be staggering. Because she has made choices, sacrificed things, lived under a sentence she may never have actually been given. But wait, because the story doesn't stop there. Britt's symptoms, the nausea, the dizziness, the weakness, the fainting, are also classic early pregnancy symptoms. And the timing is there. She and Jason were together not long before he was taken by the WSB after confessing to shooting Cullum to protect Rocco. There has been enough time for an early pregnancy to be the cause of everything she's been experiencing. Now here is the delicious irony of the situation. Britt is an OB/GYN. She has delivered babies, counseled pregnant women, diagnosed early pregnancies in other people throughout her entire career. And yet, because her mind has been so completely consumed by the fear of Huntington's, because she has been so focused on the possibility of a devastating illness, she may have completely failed to consider that what's happening to her body is actually the beginning of a new life rather than the beginning of the end. That is the kind of irony that only General Hospital can pull off with a straight face. And it works beautifully. The summer storyline is pointing toward a life-altering revelation for Britt, and honestly, it might be two revelations landing at once. First, she doesn't have Huntington's. The disease she has feared, the future she has dreaded, the shadow that has defined so much of her recent life, it may not be real. And second, she is pregnant, with Jason's baby. Think about what that means for Jason's story too. He has never been present for his sons the way a father should be. His life, the choices he made, the world he operated in, always got in the way. But the summer preview suggests that when Jason returns, he will be a changed man. Someone making different decisions. Someone choosing differently about what matters most. A new baby might be exactly the catalyst that pushes Jason toward becoming the father he never quite managed to be before. Less the enforcer, more the man underneath, the one who was a medical student once, who had a different life mapped out before everything changed. If both of these revelations hit at once, Britt's story is about to become one of the most emotionally rich arcs on the canvas. She deserves that. She has carried so much for so long. Carly and Lucas storm Windermere and walk straight into trouble. Now let's talk about what's happening at Windermere this week, because Carly has made a decision that is either incredibly brave or absolutely going to blow up in her face. Probably both. Here's where we are. Carly knows Jocelyn is being held hostage at Windermere. She knows because she saw Cullum holding her daughter's ring, a ring that a maid found inside the mansion. That image, a stranger holding something that belongs to her child, was all Carly needed to make up her mind. She's going to Windermere. She's getting Jocelyn out, and she is not waiting for anyone's permission to do it. Now, to be fair to Carly, this is entirely consistent with who she is. She has never been someone who stands back and lets professionals handle things when someone she loves is in danger. That instinct, the fierce, relentless maternal drive to protect at any cost, is one of the things that makes Carly Carly. You cannot talk her out of it. You cannot slow her down. Once the decision is made, she is moving. But Windermere is not a straightforward target. The mansion is enormous, labyrinthine in ways that even people who have spent time there find disorienting. And right now it is swarming with WSB agents, trained, professional, armed. Cullum has the place locked down. Valentine put himself on the line by going to the WSB and surrendering, which took him off the board as an option. Jack is laid up in a hospital bed and not going anywhere. Carly needed a partner. Enter Lucas. Lucas knows Windermere. He lived there. He spent time in that mansion as a child and as an adult. He knows the tunnels, the layout, the hidden corners that casual visitors would never find. As a partner for this kind of mission, he actually makes sense on paper. He can navigate in ways that Carly alone cannot. So the two of them go in together, armed with determination and insider knowledge, heading into what they believe is a rescue operation. What they don't know, and this is where the whole plan starts to fall apart before it even fully begins, is that Cassius is in that building. And Cassius is not going to recognize them as allies. He's going to see two unauthorized people moving through a space that is supposed to be controlled and locked down, and he is going to respond to that as the threat it appears to be. Carly and Lucas have no idea that Cassius exists in the way he does. They don't know his full situation, his loyalties, the complicated moral position he's operating from. To them, he's an unknown, and to him, they're a problem that needs to be contained. The scenario that seems to be taking shape is almost painfully ironic. Carly and Lucas go in to rescue Jocelyn, and instead of finding Jocelyn and getting her out, they end up in a cell themselves. The rescuers become the people who need rescuing. Jocelyn, held captive somewhere in that same building, may end up being the one with more freedom of movement than the two people who came to free her. This is General Hospital at its most wonderfully chaotic. Good intentions, bad execution, and consequences that nobody planned for. Carly's love for Jocelyn is never in question. Lucas' willingness to risk himself for his niece is absolutely real. But charging into a WSB-controlled fortress with no backup, no weapons, and no awareness of all the moving pieces inside those walls is a recipe for exactly the kind of disaster that's apparently coming. The real question now is who comes to get them out. Because with Valentine in WSB custody, and most of their usual resources occupied or unavailable, Carly and Lucas landing in that cell could mean a very complicated extraction is ahead. Anna is done waiting, and she is coming home. And now, the moment that has General Hospital fans absolutely electric with anticipation. Anna is coming back. She has been in that facility in France for months. Months of being treated as someone fragile, unstable, and delusional. Months of medical professionals looking at her like she was the problem, when the entire time, she was the only one in the room who actually knew the truth. Because Anna knew. She has known for a long time that something was deeply wrong with the Nathan West situation. She knows about Cassius. She knows that the man walking around in Nathan's life is not Nathan. And she has been sitting in that facility, desperate to tell someone, watching the clock tick while the truth stays buried and the people she loves remain in danger from a threat they don't fully understand. That desperation explains everything about why she has tried to escape so many times. This is an instability. This is an irrationality. This is a woman who has critical information, who understands exactly what's at stake, and who has been locked away precisely because telling the truth made her look like she was losing her mind. When we get our first glimpse of Anna this week, she's in a hospital bed. 2 French doctors come in to check on her, and Anna, knitting of all things, looks less than thrilled by the visit. There is something quietly brilliant about that image, because anyone who knows Anna understands that the calm exterior is the thing you should be most concerned about. She's not resting. She's planning. And those knitting needles, those are apparently going to be more than decorative. The suggestion that her escape involves them is exactly the kind of elegant, unexpected, slightly dangerous move that Anna has always been capable of. She doesn't need a weapon in the traditional sense. She needs the right moment and the right object, and she will create an opportunity out of almost nothing. The gaslighting she endured at Cullum's hands in her Windermere prison was extensive and deliberate. He made her believe Caesar was still alive. He fed her fears and twisted her perceptions until the people around her genuinely couldn't tell what was real for her anymore. That kind of psychological manipulation takes time to recover from, but Anna has had months. And the woman who emerges from that facility is not going to be the same frightened, disoriented person who was brought in. She's going to be sharp. She's going to be focused. And she's going to be angry in the very quiet, very controlled way that Anna reserves for the moments when she has fully decided what needs to happen next. The summer previews describe Anna as having deadly intentions upon her return to Port Charles. That phrase is doing a lot of work, and it is doing it honestly. Cullum manipulated her, imprisoned her, and tried to use her deteriorating mental state to neutralize her as a threat. Anna does not forget that kind of thing. She does not process it and move on graciously. She files it away, and she waits for the moment when she can respond on her own terms. She also isn't going to come straight home. That would be too obvious, too exposed. Anna knows how to operate underground better than almost anyone in Port Charles's history. She'll surface when she's ready, when she has the information organized, the allies in place, and the plan mapped out. And when she does resurface, the people who thought they had neutralized her are going to realize very quickly how wrong they were. Cullum should be worried. Anyone connected to what was done to Anna should be worried. Because Anna Devane is coming home. And she is not coming home quietly. Friends, what a week Port Charles has in store. Britt facing 2 life-changing revelations at once. Carly and Lucas charging into Windermere and possibly ending up exactly where they didn't want to be. And Anna finally breaking free and setting her sights on the people who underestimated her. I need your theories in the comments right now. Do you think Britt is pregnant? Will Carly and Lucas actually pull off the rescue or completely botch it? And how do you think Anna is going to handle Cullum when she finally gets her hands on the situation? Subscribe, leave a like, and I will see you right back here in Port Charles. Stay dramatic always.